Yeah, we'll do it, right? Oh yeah. Good afternoon, everybody. This is the Rico Nico podcast. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you, Richard, for this podcast. How you doing today?
I'm doing immaculate.
And Richard is thinking of what to say for the whole podcast. We wanted to talk about
Go ahead.
relevancy and how rich people stay relevant and keep making money. No, I'm just kidding. How people in media stay relevant. What do they do? What do they not do? What helps? What doesn't help?
All right.
Do you have any examples? Any
All
any
right.
thoughts?
So what led to this topic was about this project that we have right now. We're coming up on our 50th uh
Podcast version.
podcast. We're going to 100 just make sure you get, we get the experience and kind of see how it is, tweak a little bit.
Yeah, maybe by then we'll get 5 years of video.
Right. And then I know there's so many videos out here on Twitch and so many podcasts out there. And then it's really just a experiment to see about how to improve and really get better at our articulation and camera presence and yada, yada, yada. But relevancy, what I was thinking about relevancy in regards to is how do people who do this already, who are already established, how do they stay relevant? And my perspective was this. Um, the people who gain notoriety in this, or at least podcasting, do so by transitioning from people not going from listening to their pertinent views and their opinions to them becoming more diverse and inviting on other individuals and getting other perspectives to be able to kind of bounce off and stay, engaging and stay relevant and stay, very active in regards to the I guess what's the currency. So we talked about Joe Rogan, right? Joe Rogan, very, very intellectual guy himself, knows a lot, very good in his craft. But to just listen to Joe Rogan by himself, no matter how we would run dry on his topics. He brings other guests, he brings other experts, he brings authors, he brings people who are in the buzz, he brings people from way back in the day to kind of to rehash what's going on now. So because he has those abilities to kind of bounce off, and he adds such a very dynamic spin to the conversation, people watching. A lot of people don't like. I'm gonna name some
Yeah.
names, but you don't know Bill Maher or any talk show on television.
Yeah, but this dude is coming up with Elon Musk
So
and Kevin Hart and all these people. It's like, of course, people are gonna watch.
yeah, because
That's
because he's
more of
got.
them bringing the people to him.
Well, no, but he's got to build his platform to where he can
Even invite them.
yeah. So when he does invite them, they'll show up because it's a mutual exchange, right?
Have you heard of Lex Friedman before?
Lex Freeman,
Lex Friedman.
Flex Friedman, now.
He's another
Okay, so
podcast.
podcast, you got to build your brand to where when you get in those circles, then you can be, you can score the big names and have that conversation.
So you meant relevancy in general or just for podcasts?
We could say podcast, but say in general, because think about it. Those who are in celebrity, how they stay relevant? They
Like
either
what Will Smith said.
yeah, like so movies, entertainment whatsoever. You put out content or you create controversy. So we look at the transition of those who are no longer putting out quality content, or their content is no longer relevant. A lot of people will go and they'll create controversy, you know, or they'll make a pivot and they'll change the trajectory and do something different. So you'll have the former wrestler will go into politics or something of that nature.
What I've noticed, and
Uh,
this is a fun fact, in singers, what they do a lot is they get a crazy haircut. Fun fact.
Crazy
If you pay
haircut,
close attention,
or they
they
lose
do that.
weight. They talk about
Lose
mental
weight,
health,
dress weird.
or they talk
Yeah.
about weight loss, or they get married, they have kids, they have a divorce, some type of
Something that happens.
aspect of their life, some you know tri- some tribute some verified aspect of their life, a monumental aspect in their life they like to put out there, and it attracts people who can relate. Yeah, we can relate to. It's funny. A lot of celebrities don't talk about when they graduate college or something. Usually, sports individuals do, or people who do it later on. But academia is not one of the big ones. But having a child, getting married, coming out as gay or lesbian, going into politics, somebody from politics going into another field, all those pivots and changes a lot of times help keep people's fire burning. But serious things in court. There are so many people whose career has come to an end that something they do will bring back to life. Nostalgia, being from the 80s and then dropping an album or somebody rehashing your music coming out, it gets remixed, or you come out in a new show and people are like, oh man, where has he been? And you come back out. Man, I don't know who you don't know who this is, but when Rick Moranis came back out, oh man, and he was in a commercial, it was a big deal for people who were born in the 80s to see their celebrities from their era because it's nostalgia. So there's that. I look at people who are infamous right now, people who want us to who their career becomes about staying relevant, and it just kind of turns into a travesty. So there's that.
Oh, and relevancy doesn't. I have a very random question. It's not yet for another podcast. It'll go away if I don't mention it. Okay. Have you watched The Boys?
The Boys, yeah.
All 3 seasons?
I've watched most of them. Well, no. What you got to say? Relevance?
No, that was for.
Okay, well,
I just didn't want.
You just want to mention it.
So going back to our podcast, relevancy also comes to brands.
Yeah.
Because Coca-Cola doesn't have to pay $5 million for 30 seconds of the Super Bowl, but they have to do it to stay relevant, which in turn lets their business, keep growing.
Yeah. Now, I agree.
If they fall off for 2 years, Pepsi will eat them alive.
Yeah, and especially when you have staple brands or what they call blue chip brands.
Yeah.
So when you look at it from that perspective, Ford, Chevrolet, Dodge, McDonald's, Apple, those big brands, was to stay irrelevant. They make sure they have their marketing, their media. Oh, that's me. Don't know why I'm being called.
Because it's about to be 7. You gotta make the phone call.
Somebody from Tallahassee, but
you don't have to call her. It's 7.
Huh?
You don't have to call her. It's 7. It's about to be 7.
No, it's about to be 6 o'clock. Man, you've been.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, man, you gotta take it easy.
Forgot.
But no, what we look at recent times, we look at big box malls, JCPenney, Sears, and those big retailers, the big brick and mortar. Look what happened to them when Walmart came along, right? They became less relevant and not able to maintain their business platform and business structure. And then what happened was Amazon and Alibaba and all these online
keep up with times.
aspect, and you got to keep up with the times. How do you stay relevant? Netflix, Redbox, and Blockbuster Video. Blockbuster Video took so long to pivot into the streaming future that they were overtaken by the wave and put out of business. So, and that happens with restaurants a lot and different organizations and companies. They might have the traction, they might have had the torch, but because of lack of innovation or pivoting at the right time, or sometimes the whale is just too big. The sharks are eating most of the food quicker than the whale can sustain itself. They naturally starve under their own weight. There's that. So, man, relevancy is an important thing. I look at when it comes to like how do political figures stay relevant. You got people in the Senate and in parts of the government, and they're well into their 80s, and well into their 80s and dying. And
it's so obvious.
Yeah, they keep themselves relevant because they hone and gather their influence. Why does a state keep electing a person for decades? Because they become complacent and he's always been there, she's always been there.
Oh, that's the guy.
There. And we don't let something else or someone new come in regards, because they keep we're relevant. Now they never look at, are you actually accomplishing anything? But
they're good at making it look like they're accomplishing things.
Absolutely. So they can stay relevant. And that's why you have the young incumbents that come in. A lot of times they do the same song and dance, but you don't give them a chance because we're so used to so-and-so. They don't get a chance. Like our government should look so much younger than it does. It should look so much younger than it does. Yeah. And it's going to be weird.
Most of them are 70 plus.
Yeah. You know how weird it would be if like all the boomers just drop and you haven't prepared the next generation to really take over the seat. And also the older generation has been doing it a certain way that really hasn't been effective. It's pretty much been mostly smoke and mirrors. So now when the younger generation does apply, they see that the files weren't kept properly, all because they were doing this behind the scenes. And it's like, oh, now younger generations have to go back and fix all the problems that were there for decades, and to then basically have a deficit to then start doing the job properly. And that's also if we don't have the same biased conservative and liberal lines that keep the same perpetuated mindsets going.
I think that's also more. I don't know about more, but it has a lot to do about power as well, not just relevant.
Yeah,
I
power.
just want to say power.
Yeah,
It is
because
different when you're like a soccer player that's going, oh, they just replace you.
yeah,
Like they're not in a place of power.
yeah.
These people are.
But think about it. When a king is nearing his last days, he fears that his power will be challenged because he might no longer be relevant to the people. He might just be a figurehead. You know, I don't have the strength. I can't lead the charge. I'm no longer sitting on the governing council. I'm only relevant because of my image. That's the power structure.
That one may not last forever.
Yeah, it might not last forever.
I think relevant, I leave it to these people. To be honest, I don't really care. I mean, to be honest.
What is that too?
I just do my thing,
Yeah.
It's just I don't have to stay relevant to matter to who I matter to or for people who matter to me.
Fair enough.
Like
that's
kind of like something that they kind of have to worry about.
Yeah, and if relevancy is how you pay your bills, if you monetize your relevancy, then yeah, it's very important. I look at these YouTubers. But
in a way, it makes you a slave.
Like
I gotta do something.
Well, it depends how if you're able to diversify your investments and your efforts into other things that you can break away from. If you're your own brand and you can pivot to where you can do what you want to do and not lose your base or lose your relevancy in regards to your industry, then you're okay. It doesn't have to be here on the internet. It could be with your consumer base. It could be with the people the people you sell your product to. It could be with the people you do business with. It you facilitate some type of product or service. If you lose relevancy and somebody replaces you, then that will directly affect you unless you can pivot. Think about it like this: during the pandemic, companies that made alcohol, distilled alcohol, they had to pivot from making alcohol sales to making hand sanitizer, right? To stay relevant and keep money coming in. So, there's that if you can make that pivot. Like I said, back to like you, when I look at YouTube and I see some of the silliest things on YouTube, and these people are making money. They got money to spend. And I'm just like, but it's usually to attract children, because children are into the flashy and the lights and whatever, even the most absurd thing. I can't tell you how many YouTubers I see that they scream on these videos. Like they scream top of their head and they just make these crazy sounds. And I'm just like, who's this attracting? Because it's mind numbing. But it has a younger audience it goes to because they stay relevant to the younger office. People who do speed runs and all that type of stuff. We individuals might not see a value in it, but it's relevant to someone. And it keeps it going.
Of course. There's a market for most things.
There's a market for
but
something.
Also the
No.
Oh,
I have mercy.
What was I gonna say? There's also how to stay relevant in a good and a bad.
Yeah, famous and infamy.
It can get really toxic or it can get good, or it's I feel like when they try to stay relevant, it's mostly from an inherently bad point, because you're just doing it to stay relevant. You don't even if it's for a good reason. Yeah, you're helping someone.
Yeah, it's a good
but
reason.
But at the end of the day, it's like
to benefit yourself. Like look at it like this.
First, to benefit yourself.
Kanye, he's gone from famous. He has infamous moments, but he stays relevant, right? Between his music and his behavior, right? But when someone's career then becomes defined by, glory seeking or seeking relevancy
instead of content,
or instead of actually being content, like you could easily see that it's a gimmick. When your brand becomes synonymous with gimmicks, then it's like, okay, whatever you're ready to go, just go, and that happens with people who their careers become more about being relevant than actually doing what's relevant. If they're not making the pivot trying to recapture the glory days, still trying to do what you used to do. That's the comedians go through a lot of that. If comedians are not well rounded and they can't talk about a well rounded subject, things of the different subjects, then what happens? They get pigeonholed into not really being able to make it into a new market as things change. I hate to not to do Jeff Dunham with who does the ventriloquism, but he went to astronomical heights. But after a while, his gimmick was ventriloquism. He kind of fell off, and he wasn't really doing anything else. He couldn't really expand because he was slave to ventriloquism. He could tell the jokes by himself, but his stick was the ventriloquist dummies. He had a whole show on Comedy Central.
But at the same time, that's also what athletes are. That's
what they do. Athletes, if you can't pivot it, if you don't make your money and pivot it into other business ventures, or being able to commentate afterward and whatnot, then if you could retire and relive your life, fine. But if you need to stay relevant to keep money coming in, you better be able to do something else. You can't be a one-trick pony.
No, of course.
And I think that's everything. It's
very thing. Similar to you having a W-2 job. When you start doing it, you start making money.
Yeah, W-2 job. Yeah, our situation. If you are employed with one single stream of income, if you stop being relevant to your employer, and they can replace you, or they don't have no need for you, your relevancy is gone. Your money stops. You're in trouble. So you have to build other skill sets, or try other things, or diversify your efforts into
keep the money coming in.
Or broaden yourself.
And that's when your content starts suffering, because you don't focus on it. You're just focusing on staying relevant
to your one job.
That
can see you as expendable anytime.
Exactly.
Yo, tell us what you think. How are you staying relevant? Are we relevant right now? This is episode 49. I was hoping to keep
true.
Yeah, I was hoping.
And we have at least like 6 ready to go, right?
They're in process right now. This is 49.
Posted or recorded.
This is 49. When I draft this with 40. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Congratulate with us, celebrate with us when we hit 50. We're halfway there, going for 100. Gonna make it lovely. Yo, if you're not,
we gotta count them when they're posted, though.
Yeah, look, like, subscribe, share, definitely comment.
This podcast anniversary just lost all the things from me.
Oh,
just lost. No, I thought it was the. It's fine.
If you're not watching,
I feel it. If
you're not watching,
you're missing out. Thank you for this podcast. Let us know in the comments down below what you think. Don't forget, and please share it so we can at least get some.
Help us with the algorithm.
Yeah.
Yes, help us stay relevant.
Nice.
I'd like to get relevant.
Exactly. We need to get relevant. And we can only do that thanks to you.
Thanks to you.